What is going on, guys? It's Tony, and in this one, we're going over the Dodgers season opener win over the Colorado Rockies. They won 5-3. Just a good win, just to get that first win, that first game to go 1-0. It's just a good start, It was a good game. It was an entertaining game to say the least. The Rockies, they jumped out on a 2-0 lead, right? And then it came down to clutch situational hitting. And ultimately, Gavin Lux led the way. What led to be a 5-run fourth inning. And even though we had a little bit of a shaky ninth, we did close it out 5-3. And that's ultimately what matters, the final score. Going up now 1-0. I mean, every game counts. And I know it's crazy to say this because literally it's just the first game. You wouldn't think that every game is significant, but we never know. I mean, given what we saw last year with the Giants, we literally lost to them by a game in the division. So all these games matter. And I remember last year we lost some games against the Rockies in which we shouldn't have lost. And we only lost by the division by this much. So yes, every game counts, and I'm going to take it. As all Dodger fans should be. They should be happy that we're 1-0. And let's go over the game, right? I mean, let's start off with Mookie Betts, right? Because this past year, right, people considered him to have a down year. And here's the thing, he still had an all-star caliber season, even in his down year. So I expect Mookie Betts to have a bounce-back year, right? He hit 1 of 5 for an RBI. Obviously, that RBI, that double came in the fourth inning, bringing in 2 people. So, obviously, just a good enough game for Mookie, a solid game, to say the least, fielding. Just doing what he does best, and that's being clutch, situational hitting, as well as, some other players in the fourth inning that we'll go over, right? Freddie Freeman, first official game as a Dodger. He did a little bit of everything, right? He took a walk, he got a hit, he got a run, so he did a little bit of everything, hitting 33 from the bat. So overall, it was a good game from Freddie Freeman, a solid game, to say the least, making some good plays at the first base. I mean, that's the thing with Freddie Freeman. His first hit was an opposite line out, to the left. So it was just great to have, a player like Freddie Freeman who can just do a little bit of everything. And here's the thing. Freddie Freeman doesn't even have to play first base his entire season just because of the universal DH rule that's now going to be implemented. So, that DH rule is really going to benefit the Dodgers. It's really going to give Dave Roberts a lot of flexibility in terms of what he wants to do with the lineup, in terms of maybe some guys need rest. Oh, maybe we can go with, some other schemes. So many things you can do with the DH. So good for the Dodgers that they now have the DH, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying Freddie Freeman had a good game, and you can expect to see him in a bit of a few DH situations. So there is that. Trey Turner, also an okay game, right? 1 of 5, knocked in an RBI. He was a part of that fourth inning 5-run game. So, he was a part of that. Good for him, knocking in a run. Justin Turner, one of the few players in the lineup that just didn't really do much, right? He struck out 2 times. He was 0 of 5. Just not a usual Justin Turner game. But, it's only one game, and I'm not going to stress over it because, he's probably going to come back next game and hit a home run. That's probably what's going to happen, because that's the thing with Justin Turner. He had a great season last year, and there's no reason to sit here and be concerned about Justin Turner whatsoever, right? Things like this happen, okay? So I'm not really worried. Max Muncy, same thing. He came back from an elbow injury. Obviously, that occurred in the last game of the regular season last year. So Max Muncy just trying to get his feel back, hitting 1 of 5, hitting a single, having some good contact, against any Colorado pitcher, even though he didn't get on base every single time. He just had some pretty good contact here and there. So good for Max Muncy. It's good to see him back. The most important thing for him is to stay healthy, because we know he was an MVP candidate before he got hurt last season, right? And obviously we dearly missed him in the postseason. We really needed that slugger, because obviously Mookie Betts was kind of underperforming, right? So we're really trying to look for Trey Turner, who also did not have the greatest postseason. So if you really look at it, we went all the way to the NLCS without Max Muncy, and with Mookie Betts kind of underperforming a little bit. So what I'm simply saying is, give us a healthy Max Muncy along with the rest of the lineup. This team can do a lot of great things, and Max Muncy, I'm telling you, he'll have another MVP-like season. Key is, he just got to stay healthy. And obviously, today was a good start. Just getting a hit, right? Because obviously, that elbow injury, there are a few pitches that were close to hitting his elbow again. But just getting comfortable again in the batter's box and just getting a hit in. It has to feel good for him. Will Smith, great game from Will Smith. Just just the patience from Will Smith. You know, he's just that kind of guy, you know, 28, 26, 27 years old. He just has a lot of patience. And he's one of those guys that doesn't get too high or too low. He's just a great player to have on your team because he's a great performer consistently. Obviously, he's shown it in the past where he's just extremely clutch, right? 3 at-bats, 1 run, 1 hit was a part of that 4th inning dominance by the Dodgers, really. So, great job by Will Smith, and obviously there were no errors to really speak of, right? There may have been a couple, but Will Smith made up for it, right? He threw he threw Charlie Blackmon out in that one play where the ball got away from him. But overall, good game from Will Smith. And Chris Taylor, thank God we re-signed him, 4-year extension, or 4-year contract, I'd rather say, because Chris Taylor's someone who can just come in and just do everything for you. He can field, he can play multiple positions, he can hit, he can bunt, he can steal bases, he can just do a little bit of everything. And it's just great to have a utility guy like Chris Taylor. And obviously, you know, 2 of 4 today. 2 hits, 1 run. It's just great. It's just great to have Chris Taylor in the lineup as well. I know, like, when we first got him, you know, in 2016, people were only expecting much from him, and he's obviously overexceeded those expectations. But, you know, great to have him back because he came up huge in the postseason. You know, he was one of the main reasons why we went so far in the playoffs with an underperforming Mookie Betts, with the struggling Trey Turner. Obviously, we know the story was kind of, you know, Max Muncy being injured and things of that sort. Chris Taylor was one of the big reasons. Clutch home run against the Cardinals, right? He's probably gonna, Chris Taylor's just that guy. But I want to talk about Cody Bellinger because I know a lot of people are going to bash on Cody Bellinger. I already know what's going to happen. People are going to be like, oh, well, he's 0-4. I get it. He's 0-4. He didn't really make good contact, right? His first 2 at-bats were pretty pathetic, to say the least. But, you know, if we're going to sit here and do this all season, all over again, you know, the way that he performed in the postseason, right? Obviously, that clutch hit against the Giants, the clutch 3-run home run against the Braves in Game 3. He comes up big when it matters most. And as far as this regular season is concerned, right, he just needs to get it going again. And all it takes is some games, right? If you can string together 5 to 10 games of just good contact hitting, he can turn this season around. And I want to compare Cody Bellinger to Christian Yelich a little bit because they're both MVP candidates just a couple of seasons ago. Both of them have been underperforming ever since. So I'm just simply saying, you can't... I would say Cody Bellinger is the weakest spot of this lineup, but by no means is what I say he's an easy out. He's still someone that you got to pitch around in a sense because, you know, he still has that experience. He still has that, you know, history of making big plays when it matters most. So you definitely cannot relax if you're an opposing pitcher pitching to Cody Bellinger. And let me talk about Gavin Lux, probably the player of the game, because obviously he was the one who led the 4th inning, the dominance, right? 2 outs, 2 strikes, and he just came up big and made a very, very clutch hit. Obviously, you had Will Smith with it. Obviously, you had Chris Taylor with the hit, right? So you had 1 on first and 1 on third. Gavin Lux, to do what he did with 2 outs, you didn't think you were going to do anything in the 4th inning because of the fact that innings 1 through 3, same story. 1 of 11 for runners in scoring position. They just could not do much until Gavin Lux happened. Gavin Lux started the way of the 4th inning, right, with the hit that he had. Mookie Betts drove in a few. Trey Turner drove in 1. So it really, hitting is contagious, and Gavin Lux started it. Hence, he was probably the player of the game. And let's go off with the pitchers real quick. Walker Buehler, it was a pretty solid game. I know he had a bit of a struggle in the first couple innings, but especially after Gavin Lux led the way in the 4th inning, Walker Buehler just looked like Walker Buehler. Most important thing is that he's healthy and he doesn't have a dead arm come postseason time. And obviously our bullpen coming out, Gratterall, Trinan looking good, Craig Kimbrell, right, looking pretty solid. I know he gave up the 1 run, but it's okay. He'll get things going. But overall, good game from the Dodgers, starting off the season 1-0. It's just a good thing to have, right, just to get that first win under their belt and just to get things going. Right, so, yeah, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what your guys' thoughts were on the Dodgers beating the Rockies in the season opener, 5-3. And subscribe for more. Alright, guys, peace out. And as always, go Dodgers.